Moving on from Manchester United, I wanted to talk about Chelsea and Tottenham next, boys, because Tottenham seemingly close to signing Mohammed Kudus. A big Chelsea account shared by Simon Phillips has said that Kudus wants Chelsea, but that doesn't seemingly look true right now, boys.
No, it doesn't. I mean, if you're to believe all the reports that are out there, and like I said, the credible reports from the people that we actually believe, they say Kudus has prioritized Tottenham. He only wants Tottenham at this moment, and they did say at this moment in time. So obviously things could change within the next. If we do the Man United thing, we take 2 weeks on the deal. He might change his mind in that time frame. Who knows? But at this moment,
it's true. It's true.
He does only want Tottenham.
You're right, because you came back in for him, Bomo, and he rejected you for the second time in the summer. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, it's fair to say. But again, we move on, and like you did highlight earlier. Yeah. Like the one thing about me is I don't get too sold on one player. I think the one thing is what people do in these transfer windows. You get sold on one player and it's like only this player can improve us. If we don't get this player, our transfer window is a failure. When I looked at all the positions and players that we were looking at, I'm just like, oh, Semenyo and Mbeumo, Eze, Kudus, all these types of players. I'm happy with all these targets. It's not like you're dropping down. These are all at similar levels. They're all similar players. Maybe Mbeumo's a step ahead of most of them, but when I look at these, I'm happy with all those players. Kudus being one of my favorite ones. I feel like he's got that real star factor that Spurs have missed. Some people are going to point to his last season at West Ham. I look at that last season and just say, look, when you don't want to be at a club, you're not necessarily going to perform the best. You're not going to put in your best effort levels. And also when you've been played out of position for the whole season, under two bad managers, then I think you can look at those reasons as to why he didn't perform where he was needed. But yeah, no, look, apparently I did also see a report today that he's rejected or rebuffed an approach from Bayern as well. So he seems really keen on this Spurs deal. And I can't lie, it does feel nice for a player who actually really wants to come to Spurs because, hey, it's been a while. Spurs were in 17th, and even then we can still get players. And West Ham fans, I know they're going to hate this one because, hey, they're coming over to your biggest rivals. Respectfully, West Ham, they hate us more than anyone. So to come to Spurs,
and you know what? This window, nearly every time a journalist or a group of journalists have said a player is given his priority to a club, that player hasn't changed his mind. So I do believe that Kudus has rejected Spurs. And if you don't want to say rejected because people are sensitive, Kudus has rejected Chelsea. Sorry, he's rejected Chelsea. And if you don't want to say rejected because you're sensitive, he has told them that he prefers Spurs right now, and that's where we're at. And I think Spurs get this done, and I think Kudus would make the right move, in my opinion, to go into Spurs over Chelsea. Because he's got guaranteed game time. He's going to be playing in Champions League anyway. And he's going to be working with a manager who I think would get the best out of him. You know? Because he's not a touchline winger like what Maresca likes to use. He's more of that inside forward, inside 10 kind of player. He can play the 10, he can play right wing. And I think Frank, who's very adaptable, he knows to get the best qualities out of his players, will do the same with Kudus. So I do think he's making the right decision. And I'm not surprised that he has prioritized and moved to Spurs over Chelsea, where his game time would probably be limited because he would be behind Pedro Neto and he'll be behind Cole Palmer.
Yeah, and then they've obviously signed João Pedro, Gittins, Delap is obviously in there as well. Yeah, I think Kudus to Spurs is good. I think similar to what you're saying, like with Thomas Frank, I think he's one of my favorite managers in the league because I think what he does with players to come into a team to get them playing to like a really high level. That's what I think with Mbeumo as well. I think he was playing at a high level, and like, will he be able to consistently show that at United? I think that's something that like might be a question mark when he initially goes in, because I think he gets so much out of his players, and I think that's what Amorim will have to do with Mbeumo. But I just think from Kudus' point of view, I think last season he didn't hit the heights of the season before, and I think him moving to a team like Spurs, where he'll obviously take that next step up, he'll play in the Champions League, and he'll be under a manager that will like help him learn a lot. I think that's like only good from his point of view. So rejecting Chelsea and going to Spurs would be the right move for him, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I always suggested that this would be the right move. Like you said there, KJ, he's not going to be the first option at Chelsea. And I think like Chelsea have put themselves in a position where they've consistently signed more and more players. He's going to look at it and be like, oh, Chelsea have spent 50 odd million on Esteval. He's supposed to be coming in and being the next right winger or the next future right winger. So why are they going to buy me? And then I'm going to be competing with these likes of players. I have one bad game. I'm out of the team for 3 or 4 games. I have to have a good 20 minutes on the pitch to work myself back. Like it's a whole different scenarios to go in Tottenham and probably being guaranteed, look, your competition's Brennan Johnson. You're probably going to play over Brennan Johnson. You go there, you make this your role. You can put the team on your back and you can become the main player for Tottenham. This is going to be a marquee signing for us. So I think you're looking at 2 very different scenarios when going to Chelsea and going to Tottenham. And I think he's made the better option and the better choice, to be fair.
Yeah, it's an excellent. So all banter aside, it's an excellent signing for Tottenham. It really is, and I think that I see a lot of West Ham fans coping so hard with this. They're doing the whole, we're getting X amount of money for a player that scored less goals. I saw some less goals, and I don't know, he mentioned Fonals or something like this, whatever it was. He's mentioning all these players that have flopped, and he's got less goals. And it's like you really are missing the kind of the crux of this, that Kudus just lost the will to play for your football club. He lost the will. I think he was sold something that they didn't deliver. I think he's going to be an excellent signing for Spurs. I really, especially with Thomas Frank and the balance that he's going to bring to Spurs next season. I think even a lot of Spurs' current squad that people have written off are going to look so much better next year, that there's a balance to the way you play. And I think you'll also play within your means, which is so important. I think people don't understand how important it is to play within your means sometimes, to play within your sort of wheelhouse, what you've got, get the best from what you've got. And Thomas Frank's, for me, one of the best in the Premier League at doing that. But yeah, Mohammed Kudus is great. I understand. I agree with you, George. I think I understand why he's rejecting a move to Chelsea, because you've got Cole Palmer that plays in his best position. They've just dropped loads of money on Gittins, as an example. They've got Neto, and they're also looking at other players. Will they get rid of Madueke? We don't know. It's a lot harder pathway. Kudus walks straight into your first team, in my personal opinion. And that's whether that's in a wide position or centrally. I think he could start in all of them at your team right now. The only person that really challenges him is Kulusevski. That's the only one who really challenges him. And what's his injury saying? He's still going to be out for a while, isn't he?
Out for the majority of this year, I'd say probably November, December.
So he's out. So you haven't even really got to worry about that right now. He walks into the team. I think you guys might even play him centrally. I think you might play him in that central role that he really wants. And yeah, fair play to Spurs. This is going to be, and this is why as well, I think sometimes don't always panic. You know, the Eze deal, you walked away from it. In Burmo couldn't happen. And then you obviously had the Semenyo deal, was priced out of a move, and you guys stepped back, which is fair. But you've ended up with Mohammed Kudus. And that's why United not getting Gyökeres. I'm not going to, allow myself to be immature at this moment. I'm going to, part of me feels angry, but I'm just going to wait. Because what I don't want, and I know some YouTubers thrive on this, I don't want the content of me crashing out today over not getting Gyökeres just for in 2 days' time to be really happy with a deal that comes in. Because I don't know. It's fair for other YouTubers to act like that. Go watch them. I'm just not going to do that as best I can. Because right now the window's still open. The thing is, I've had many years where I've criticized that window at the end of it, when it's over and I know what we have and haven't got done. But no, you guys have done really, really well here. Really, really well indeed. I think it'll be a big hit at Spurs. I really do. I said the same about him joining Chelsea. I'm not going to change my mind because he's joining Tottenham. I think it'll be a big, big hit indeed. This year says, I see Madueke near my club. 30 men fall that day is, fair enough. Fair enough. Is there any news around United and a DM? Ugarte is a 2020s DM, tough tackler and nothing else. Well, this young lad Javi plays both roles, so there's an opportunity there. But outside of that, nothing really for Man United.
And now there's been contrary reports saying his stay is actually waiting for a new contract at Valencia because he wants to stay. So yeah, I'm not too sure how strong we are in for this kid, even though I think he'll be a decent signing. There's pretty much nothing, and I don't think there will be anything until we figure out what we're going to do with our striker situation, and also if we sell Garnacho, Rashford, Sancho, all of that. Once those guys are gone, or a couple of them are gone, I think we'll see more links to midfielders because we'll have a bit more money.
Yeah, I agree. Terry and KJ, it feels like United are quietly setting up to sack Ruben. Sick to say, but that's clearly what way we are heading. What are your takes?
I don't think any club actually intentionally sets up their manager to be sacked. I don't think that's a thing that they do because they might as well just sack him now. You know what I mean? Like, why set him up to be sacked if you don't want him? You just sack him now, right? So I don't think they're setting up Ruben to be sacked on purpose. I think they're trying to be better in the transfer market. I think they're trying to do things differently to the old Man United, and because we're trying to do it now in the position that we're in, it's not an easy change. It was never going to be an easy change over to what we're doing. So it's going to be difficult next season for Ruben if we don't get transfers in, and it might lead him getting the sack. But I don't think it will be because United are trying to set up a Ruben Amorim to be sacked. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think we're doing it to actually sack him. I would respectfully disagree. The Tottenham supporting gentleman here, don't know your name. Sorry, it's George. United need a goal-scoring, out-and-out striker.
I think with Cunha and Mbeumo coming in, you've got two players that score quite a few goals. So you don't necessarily... I think you could work with Xerxes in there. I think Xerxes, if he facilitates for those two the way that would be needed and those taking up those central areas. And also, I think they'll revolve into that central role. You have Cunha in that central role at times. You'll see have Mbeumo in that central role at times. So I think with Xerxes, it could potentially work,
Or even Cunha false nine, and you have Bruno with Mbeumo or Ahmad with Mbeumo. Like there's options there for us to go without a quote unquote out goal scorer.
I think where George is right though, Adele, is you have to look at it from the perspective of, I want to say this right. I would rather sign no number 9 than the wrong number 9 and waste the money. And we've done that too much again in the last 12 years. So I'm just going to stay true to all the reasons I've said the club has been failing. One of them is, we need a striker. We didn't get him. Let's buy this guy for 50 million, but he's crap. Yeah, but the fans want a striker, so we'll just buy one. You can't behave that way. It needs to be the right one. It really, really does need to be the right person.